Hello, hello, hello. Welcome for another episode of the Author Spotlight. Hey, it's your host with the most, your main man, Darren M. Palmer. I'm excited to be with you where I get the honor and the privilege to go behind the scenes with best-selling authors from around the world. Today I have on Mr. Bobby Albert. Say hello to the people, Mr. Albert.
Hello, everybody, and howdy from Texas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We do it big in the great state, so we're glad to be here. But for those who listen to the show, you know how we do. You have the information in the show notes to do a deep dive. But Mr. Albert, if you don't mind, please, sir, just share with the people a little bit in a nutshell who you are and what do you do.
Well, I for over 40 years I've been a CEO. I I started. It was an occurrence of my dad dying that I took over a 5 employee struggling small family business, and we grew it to over 150 employees. We did work internationally and end up selling the company to a publicly traded company in 2011. And from 2005 to 2011, and during late 07, 08, 09, the economy was in the tank, and a little bit in the 2010. But even at that, we had grown our company revenue and profit by 500% during that time period. And so I'm living my second half of life, and the company that bought our successful company really blessed me, and I'm just thrilled to be speaking and writing and coaching and consulting and those kind of things with what I do now with values driven leadership.
Awesome, awesome. And I really appreciate you sharing that, Mr. Albert, because for those who listen to this, we have entrepreneurs and business leaders in different walks of life right now, or some of them are in the infancy stages. Some of them are looking at, I don't know, what did I sign up for? I thought I was going to be able to have time to myself, and now I seem like I'm overwhelmed. To some who are more in the mature stage or whatnot, and they went off to college, they graduated, and some things are clicking on all cylinders, but they might look at the opportunity for an exit or whatnot, somewhat like you did, or keeping the business in the proper health, even if they're going to pass it on. And, when we look at the success that you've had, and you brought up the writing component, I want you to share the name of your book, if you don't mind, and also why did you write the book?
Well, actually, I've published 3 books, but the one that I selected to talk about today is the True North business book. And I wrote the book because so many people would say for years, actually, for many, many years, that, Bobby, you need to write a book on your leadership principles and practices and about your unique workplace culture. So that's what I did.
that's that's awesome that you move forward in doing it. But I want to go a little bit deeper, Mr. Albert, on that, because what you just shared with our audience, you heard it. It was shared to you. You heard it, but you did it. As we like to say in down south, me being from the great state of Texas myself, it's filled, the cemetery is filled with I'm fixing to and I'm fitting to. Now don't write that in your books right now. That's not proper English, but but you know where I'm going with this, Mr.
I do. Hey.
But there are people who have amazing stories, know they have something that they should share with the world. So I want to deal with the psychology part of it, because I believe that this is transferable, why you've had success in other areas of your life. And I think that you just utilized that when it came to the book as well. What made you actually go and do it, Mr. Albert, compared to where others don't do it? Was it some from your past, and previous habits that you had created with your success principles and things you live by that allow for you to embark on that uncharted territory. Can you share a little bit of your mindset behind doing something that you hadn't done before?
Well, one thing that was helpful for me is after many years of developing these principles and practices and the type of workplace culture that we had, over those years, I had developed a whole bunch of documents and PowerPoints. So I had uh, a good nucleus of a starting place from our business that made it possible to write this book. And the other two books for that matter, too.
That's amazing. And for those who are listening, what Mr. Bobby is sharing with us is the importance of RPC, repurpose content, repurpose content. So some of you, I like to go with Mr. Albert, the acres of diamonds approach when it comes to this. Some of you have buried treasure. I mean, it's on your website. It's a part of some of the newsletters that you're sending out with your company every month. And you don't understand, just because you used it once, it's some people who've forgotten that. They're carrying the kids to AAU practice. They got kids. They might have a daughter in dance. They're doing something with their spouse or significant other, or they're dealing with sales meetings, and they have forgotten the things that you have submitted. So repurposing that content and putting it, whether it's a chapter or adding it to go along, and you just add and expound upon what you've already did, then that is a great resource to utilize when it comes to creating content. For some of you out there who may be bloggers and you are doing a blog already, I had so many people that we work with would just take the things that they have done for us blog posts, compile them, and they had most of the material that they needed for their books. So for those who are listening to Mr. Bobby today, I want you to look at, what do you have? What are the acres of diamonds that you have? Where is it that you think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, but you don't understand that you actually have plenty of grass there, that you already watered it, you already have the right type of soil, you just don't view it because your perspective is looked at in the wrong way. And I see that you shared with the 3 books. The reason I'm bringing this up on the why, because some people would think to themselves, Mr. Albert, like, well, I already have a degree, or I've already accomplished a few things, why would I write a book? Especially a person like you, being able to have the exit, the culture that you created, you've been able to impact so many lives already. You've already a success. You took what was the family business and you increased it. The number, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. The proof is in the pudding, as we say down south. So someone like you, people could say, oh, Mr. Bobby be the last person that would have to write that book. So I just wanted those to understand that, why do you keep creating the content, Mr. Bobby? Because you didn't do it just once, you didn't do it twice, you did it 3 times. Can you share the reason of the why that you continue to create content like this?
Well, when I started writing, I was even surprised how much content I have. In fact, I could write another 4 to 5 books. I've got that much content. But I really like, Darren, I really like that word repurpose, because that's exactly what I did. Now, did I have to reorganize things and, get some editors to make it look and sound pretty? Because like you said, here in Texas, sometimes we don't use good English. I tell people when I'm speaking, I'm going to pass out some Texas dictionaries so they can understand me, but I was very fortunate, and I didn't realize until I started gathering all of the documents and the PowerPoints and started going through hard copies. I got, there was this goes far enough back that there was a time when, we were still using the copy machine and the fax machine, so there was a lot of content that repurpose that made it easier for me. But hey, it still takes time. It still takes time.
Man, that's amazing when I hear you. And for those who are listening, just understand that time is not the enemy. Just do your due diligence. Remember, it's progression over perfection. And I think that's what Mr. Bobby has shared with us today of the importance of moving forward with what you have. And notice what Mr. Albert shared with us too of the importance of surrounding yourself with a team. As a great client of ours who a two-time daytime Emmy Award winner shared with us, and a nugget that I took from her was she knows what she does, what she don't know. So that's why she's able to have some of the success. So she didn't let ego get in the way or pride get in the way. So if you're there, it's no sense of you trying to take a course at the local college or whatnot to get better at editing when you could actually get an expert who that's what they do every day. That they can, as Mr. Bobby just shared with us, they can make it pretty or whatnot, clean it up real good for us, and to make sure we don't throw the baby away with the bathwater, so to speak. And so I just want those who are listening to that, don't think that you have to have a doctorate in publishing to get started. Know what you don't know, take some of the things that you have, get a team of people or find one or two people that can help assist you. And each step along the way, you'll be shocked at what you're able to accomplish. But Mr. Bob, I want to hear this from you because not only are you utilizing the medium of books, you're actually doing consulting. You're doing the speaking. And what can you say, maybe two or three tips that you would give to some business owners out there when it comes to the importance of investing in themselves, getting the right knowledge, getting around those who've actually done it, and it can cut the learning curve down for them? I know they still got to put the time and the effort in it, the sweat equity, but what could you share to those business owners who are listening to this of the importance of like this type of stuff that you do with the principles, building culture, and how to leverage a healthy business?
Well, this may sound too simple, but being a lifelong learner. I mean, I really it's kind of interesting. As a young boy in fifth grade, I learned that. I remember uh, the next to the last 6 weeks of fifth grade, I made an F in science. And, my parents were, because I was a year younger than everyone else, my parents started me earlier in school than they probably should have. I think it's because when I was a little boy, and I still have this issue as an adult, I'm ADDDDD, and so I wanted to go out and play, not be in school and learning all this stuff. And I remember my parents were asking me, well, what happened? And I, you know what, be honest with you, I couldn't even remember us studying science that 6 weeks. But my dad's he asked me a very simple question that really kind of turned me around. After we got that the 6 weeks grade and going into the last 6 weeks of the fifth grade, my dad said, Bobby, won't you see, how well can you do this 6 weeks? Well, I don't know what stirred inside of me, but I took it as a challenge that I wanted to achieve. And I was shocked how well I did that 6 weeks. I made excellent grades. In fact, my parents were wondering what happened to the old Bobby, And from that point forward, at the end of that last 6 weeks of the fifth grade, my lifelong learning just started to accelerate. I mean, I kept going. And, even today, it's amazing. I don't have to, but I'm taking a online course tomorrow just to keep learning, And so my advice is to just have this is, a principle to live by, is being a lifelong learner.
Wow. I mean, that's good like Campbell soup there, Mr. Bobby. I'm telling you. I mean, that's good. I mean, that learning is the separator. And no matter who I interview on these different shows, that's a common denominator with all those who are great. They can start off with a simple beginning, didn't know they would end up in the industry or doing some of the things that they were able to accomplish. But you see that no matter who it is, they keep learning. And that's the importance that I want those who are learning. It's a danger. I had one mentor, Mr. Bobby, share it with me. He said, Darren, it's a dangerous place when you get to the spot or situation in your life where you feel like you know it all. Whenever he said, that's a metric, that's a true KPI of you need to get your life together. When you get to a point where you feel like you know it all and there's no reason for you to keep learning and growing, then you know that you're close to your demise or whatnot, because it's something's not right. And you got to keep learning. You got to have a ravenous appeal for learning. You got to be hungry for learning or whatnot. And so, if you don't mind, for those who are listening, they're like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I'm loving what Mr. Albert is sharing. I need more." If you don't mind, Mr. Bobby, could you share with them where can they get the books? And I also want you, and I know we'll have it in our show notes, but for those business owners, because I know they're watching this, for those leaders out there who could benefit from these principles, they're hearing it from somebody who's not just taking a picture in front of a Ferrari, but this is someone who's actually made an exit and built a real company. Can you please share with them too, if they can connect with you or a member of your team? What is the best way that they can continue to learn some of the principles that you have if they want more of a 300 level experience with you and your company?
Well, one of the best ways they can contact, to learn more about me and what I do now, it's pretty simple, bobbyalbert.com. And Darren, if it's okay with you, I have a free gift I can offer to your listening audience, and it's a workplace culture assessment if they're interested in that, and that is simply bobbyalbert.com/ it's a culture checkup. It's considered one word. It's a link, and bobbyalbert.com/ culture checkup. And Darren, if I might share just maybe another point here, if I
Yes,
may.
sir. Yeah, please, sir.
Is one thing else about what was really compelling to me is that, and it's just inside of me, is that I want to make a difference in people, for people, and through people by renewing their minds and touching their hearts and transforming their lives. And so that is a factor that's inside of me that really compels me to keep moving forward. And I, like you mentioned earlier, I just started out taking all this content and started writing a weekly blog. And I've written almost 300. I've got it scheduled to write about another 100 blogs. But another tool, if I might offer a practical tool, is just it's really fascinating to have a high sense of self-awareness, and just as you're going through life. My wife and I have been blessed with 9 grandkids, but the grandkids will teach you all kinds of stories. And just being around the grandkids, for example, they'll say things just, innocently. And it's like, wow, that's a story I can use, But the other part is be with a high sense of awareness is you have stories in your own life. Like a moment ago, I shared about when I was 5 years old. That's the kind of things is having stories. And I found that writing the blogs is to have one objective that you're going to write about, but state that objective as well.
I love that. I love that. You know, staying that objective, and I believe that you can learn. You can learn from anybody what to do and what not to do. But you definitely have shared that for us, even with his children or whoever it may be. If you stay with, I call it the power of awareness. When you have an awareness that, whoa, did you hear what that person just shared, or did you pick up on that lesson, or did you see that experience? I mean, it was just immediately um, that stands out to me. I saw a young man, just to attest to what you brought up, where he's going to kindergarten. He's in a dual program, but the first thing that kid did was he said, I teach me Spanish, even though Spanish is just, the school starts at like a week away from the time frame of that to happen. And so when I'm thinking about that, when you're saying with your grandchildren, whether it's someone setting up a TV or downloading an app, or them, chatting and communicating between their brothers and sisters, or even the situation with their parents, I think we all are in a place where we can learn and grow. But I think those who actually benefit from it are those who are intentional. And I think when I hear your story, Mr. Albert, and the things that you've been able to do, you were intentional with learning. The switch happened when you took the challenge and you became intentional to say, okay, let me see. And you continue to be able to just thrive and pick up momentum and continue to carry from new heights to new levels, man. And so I just want to say kudos to you and all that you represent. And I'm so glad to be able to have you on this episode. But I want to have you be a part, for those who are here. This will be the first thing that we have with Mr. Bobby, but I want to have you come back on some of our panels and our virtual summits. And I'll reach out to you at another time on that, because I think you have a wealth of knowledge, and I know it's only so much time on this podcast, but I would really like to have you come in and be a presenter and to be able to share or as a panelist, to help these business owners and leaders who could benefit from your services. And we're definitely going to make sure those links, make sure that you take advantage of the links that Mr. Bobby shared with us. I'm going to make sure those in the show notes so you can click it, or if not, just reach out to our office and we'll go from there too as well. And Mr. Bobby, I know with your books, I just want to give this for like a beginning entrepreneur. What book would you recommend of yours that you would want them to start with out of the three?
Yes, from a business aspect, I would say the True North business that I
Okay.
mentioned earlier is, hey, it was actually my second book. My third book was called The Freedom Paradox, and it's really kind of talking about how we can reunite America, which is a lot different, but I used all of my principles and practices from what I've written on in business in how to reunite America. But you know what? Hey, Darren, you've been an author. You understand the last book you write is usually your best book, and so as the books have progressed, I've expressed things more clear and better. And but like you said, I surround myself with some very good people that make me. Hey, these people make me look better than I really am.
I love it. I love it. And Mr. Albert, if you don't mind me asking, what part of Texas are you out of?
I'm located in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Wichita Falls. All right, I know that. And also, by the way, we'll talk about this on another episode. It's some pretty good eating around Wichita Falls, by the way.
Yes,
I'm just saying by a little experience now. I dibble and dabble, but it's some good eating in those neck of the woods.
They sure, man, they're Mexican, Tex-Mex, and barbecue. That's part of my daily diet. So.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, Mr. Bobby, we appreciate you, sir, so much. And I just want to tell you, for those who might not get the opportunity to talk to you in person, but we really appreciate you, what you stand for a person of your standard to take time to pour back into those who are actually in the thick of things when it comes to business, who have families, who know what it is to deal with payroll, wondering if you're going to make it sometimes, dealing with even the situation that we recently have been dealing with for as the COVID and new ways, new technologies, whether it's Zoom platforms like this, being able to pivot. I think your message that you have with us with those principles for success and just being an actual better human being and creating cultures where lives are impacted in a positive way is much needed. And in this time of leadership, they have to have a paradigm shift. And I think that you are leading the way with that. So, sir, I really thank you. And I'm speaking on other entrepreneurs and authors out there. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and not being selfish, but being selfless, sir. We salute you and thank you for joining us on the Author Spotlight.
It's been a pleasure to be on your show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For those who are listening, remember, this is the new year for you. This is the year for your new book. Until next time, be blessed and be great.